Butter's supposed to be simple. Cream, maybe some salt, churned until it becomes that golden spread we put on everything from toast to corn on the cob. But walk into any grocery store and you'll find shelves packed with dozens of butter brands making bold claims about quality, taste, and freshness. The truth is shocking. Food industry insiders are breaking their silence about which butter brands are cutting corners, using inferior ingredients, and misleading consumers with deceptive marketing. You grab that familiar yellow package expecting creamy, rich butter that melts perfectly and tastes like it came from a local dairy farm. What you're actually getting in many cases is industrial dairy product loaded with artificial flavors, preservatives, and fillers designed to maximize shelf life while minimizing production costs. The premium pricing doesn't guarantee premium quality. In fact, some of the most expensive butter brands deliver the worst value and questionable ingredients. The butter industry has perfected the art of perception management. Pastoral imagery on packaging creates the illusion of farm-fresh quality. Words like natural, pure, and traditional trigger emotional responses that justify higher prices. Marketing teams study consumer psychology to craft messaging that makes you feel good about spending more money. The reality behind the branding is often industrial-scale production using the cheapest possible ingredients. Former dairy industry workers are revealing which brands prioritize profit over quality. They've seen how butter gets manufactured, stored, and distributed. They know which companies use expired cream, add unnecessary chemicals, and engage in practices that would shock consumers who trust these household names. The disconnect between marketing promises and actual production methods is staggering. Today, I'm counting down the 5 worst butter brands you should never buy, according to people who actually work in dairy processing facilities. From artificial flavoring disasters to rancid cream scandals to brands that aren't even technically butter, these products represent everything wrong with industrial food production. And stick around until the end, because we've got 2 butter brands that actually deliver on their promises, plus insider tips on how to identify quality butter every single time you shop. The bonus revelations about ingredient sourcing will change how you think about butter forever, especially when you realize how much money you're wasting on branded butter that's identical to generic store brands from the same factories. Once you understand these industry secrets, you'll never fall for butter marketing tricks again. Number 5. Land O'Lakes. This Minnesota-based brand has dominated American butter aisles for decades with wholesome farm imagery and premium positioning. Former dairy processing workers reveal that Land O'Lakes butter often contains artificial flavoring to create consistency across massive production batches. You're paying premium prices for industrial butter with synthetic taste enhancement. Here's what employees expose about Land O'Lakes production methods. The cream quality varies dramatically depending on seasonal supply contracts with different dairy farms. During peak production periods, cream from hundreds of different sources gets blended together. To maintain consistent taste across this mixed supply, artificial butter flavoring gets added to create uniformity. You're not tasting pure cream. You're tasting engineered flavor designed to match consumer expectations. The salted varieties contain excessive sodium levels that mask the inferior cream quality. Former workers report that salt gets used strategically to cover up off flavors from cream that's been stored too long or sourced from questionable suppliers. Fresh, high-quality cream doesn't need heavy salting to taste good. The fact that Land O'Lakes butter is noticeably salty indicates they're compensating for underlying quality issues. The pricing strategy exploits brand recognition built over generations. Land O'Lakes charges 20 to 30% more than comparable butter brands while using standard industrial production methods. The premium you're paying goes toward marketing campaigns featuring rolling green hills and happy cows, not toward better ingredients or superior production standards. Multiple former employees confirmed that generic store brands often come from the same processing facilities as Land O'Lakes, using identical cream sources and production methods. The packaging design reinforces premium perceptions through nostalgic imagery, that has nothing to do with actual production reality. Those pastoral scenes on the wrapper represent marketing fiction, not the industrial-scale facilities where your butter was actually manufactured. The disconnect between branding and reality generates massive profit margins while delivering standard commodity butter at premium prices. Number 4. Imperial. This brand markets itself as premium butter with rich taste and superior quality. Industry insiders reveal it's actually margarine disguised as butter through clever branding and packaging design. You're paying butter prices for vegetable oil spread that legally cannot be called butter. The deception runs deep, and most consumers have no idea they're not buying actual dairy butter. Former grocery store workers expose how Imperial exploits consumer confusion between butter and margarine. The packaging uses golden colors and creamy imagery identical to real butter brands. The product placement in dairy sections alongside genuine butter creates the illusion that Imperial is a butter variety. Many shoppers grab Imperial thinking they're buying premium butter when they're actually purchasing margarine with artificial butter flavoring. The ingredient list reveals the deception. Imperial contains vegetable oils, water, salt, and artificial flavoring. No cream, no dairy content whatsoever. Yet the marketing language carefully avoids explicitly stating it's margarine while implying butter-like qualities through visual branding and strategic product positioning. This misleading marketing has fooled millions of consumers for decades. The health implications are concerning because margarine has different nutritional profiles than real butter. People following specific dietary plans or trying to avoid processed vegetable oils unknowingly consume industrial seed oils thinking they're eating dairy butter. The artificial flavoring and preservatives in Imperial create synthetic taste that mimics butter without providing any of the nutritional benefits of actual dairy products. The pricing reveals the markup exploitation. Imperial costs similar to or more than real butter, while containing cheap vegetable oils that cost pennies per pound to produce. The profit margins are enormous because consumers pay butter prices for margarine ingredients. Former food industry workers recommend reading ingredient lists carefully because Imperial represents everything wrong with deceptive food marketing. Number 3. Country Crock. Another margarine brand masquerading as butter through packaging design and strategic marketing placement. Country Crock has convinced countless Americans they're buying farm-fresh butter when they're actually purchasing processed vegetable oil spread loaded with artificial ingredients. The rural branding imagery creates wholesome associations that contradict the industrial reality of the product. Food service industry workers reveal that Country Crock is standard margarine manufactured at industrial facilities using the same processes as other vegetable oil spreads. The country farm imagery on packaging is pure marketing fiction designed to trigger emotional responses associated with rural dairy farming. Nothing about Country Crock production involves actual farms, cows, or traditional butter-making methods. The ingredient profile includes multiple processed oils, artificial flavors, and preservatives designed to extend shelf life while mimicking butter taste. Former manufacturing workers report that Country Crock formulations change regularly based on ingredient costs and availability. Your Country Crock purchased in January might have different oil compositions than the same product bought in July, depending on commodity pricing fluctuations. The texture and melting properties differ significantly from real butter because vegetable oils behave differently than dairy fats when heated or cooled. Professional bakers and chefs avoid Country Crock because it doesn't perform like butter in recipes requiring specific melting points or fat structures. You're paying for a product that fails to deliver butter functionality while costing as much as genuine dairy butter. The brand confusion extends to grocery store placement, where Country Crock appears in refrigerated dairy sections alongside real butter. This strategic positioning reinforces consumer assumptions that Country Crock is a butter variety rather than margarine. Former retail workers report that many customers express shock when informed that Country Crock contains no dairy ingredients whatsoever. Number 2. I can't believe it's not butter. The name itself admits this isn't butter, yet the marketing and packaging create deliberate confusion about what consumers are actually buying. This margarine brand represents peak deceptive marketing in the dairy alternatives category. Former food industry workers describe it as artificial flavor chemistry designed to fool taste receptors into perceiving butter qualities that don't exist. The production involves complex chemical processes to blend vegetable oils with artificial flavoring compounds that mimic butter taste profiles. Former manufacturing technicians reveal that creating convincing butter flavor from vegetable oils requires extensive laboratory development and synthetic additives. You're consuming engineered food chemistry, not natural dairy products. The ingredient list reads like a chemistry experiment with multiple processed oils, emulsifiers, artificial colors, and synthetic flavoring agents. Each component serves specific functions in creating butter-like appearance, texture, and taste from non-dairy ingredients. The complexity of artificial ingredients contradicts any claims about natural or wholesome qualities. The health concerns multiply when examining the processing methods required to create butter-like products from vegetable oils. The hydrogenation and chemical modification processes used to achieve proper texture create trans fats and other compounds that don't exist in natural butter. Former quality control workers report that achieving consistent butter-like properties requires aggressive chemical processing that transforms simple vegetable oils into complex industrial food products. The pricing strategy charges premium prices for what amounts to flavored vegetable oil. The extensive marketing campaigns and artificial ingredient costs get passed to consumers who pay butter prices for margarine that required significant industrial processing. Smart shoppers recognize that if you want butter qualities, buy actual butter instead of paying premium prices for chemical approximations. Number 1. Parquet. This brand represents the absolute worst of artificial butter substitutes masquerading as dairy products. Former food manufacturing workers describe Parquet as the bottom tier of margarine production, using the cheapest possible ingredients with aggressive artificial flavoring designed to mask inferior oil quality. You're paying for marketing nostalgia while consuming industrial waste oils, transformed through chemical processing into something resembling butter. The production methods prioritize cost reduction over any semblance of quality. Former plant workers reveal that Parquet uses whatever vegetable oils are cheapest at the time of production. Soybean oil, corn oil, canola oil, palm oil, all get blended depending on commodity market pricing. Your Parquet stick might contain completely different oil compositions from month to month based purely on what costs least to acquire. The artificial flavoring system requires constant adjustment because the base oils change so frequently. Chemical technicians must reformulate flavor profiles to compensate for different oil tastes and properties. You're consuming synthetic butter essence layered onto whatever discount oils the procurement department negotiated that quarter. The flavor consistency you experience is entirely artificial, masking constantly changing base ingredients. The preservative load in Parquet exceeds most other margarine brands because the inferior oil quality requires aggressive stabilization to prevent rancidity. Former quality control inspectors report that without heavy preservative treatment, Parquet base ingredients would develop off flavors within weeks. The chemicals keeping your Parquet edible are working overtime to prevent the natural decomposition of low-grade oils. The texture problems become obvious when Parquet encounters heat. Unlike real butter that melts cleanly, Parquet separates into oily puddles because the emulsification chemistry breaks down under temperature stress. Professional food service workers avoid Parquet for cooking applications because it creates greasy, unappetizing results that real butter never produces. The packaging design exploits decades-old consumer memories when Parquet actually contains some dairy ingredients. Modern Parquet bears no resemblance to earlier formulations, yet the branding maintains nostalgic associations with products that no longer exist. You're buying based on childhood memories of something completely different than what's currently manufactured. We've exposed the 5 worst butter brands, but the deception continues throughout the dairy alternatives market. Here are industry insights that will protect you from butter marketing scams forever. The labeling loopholes allow margarine manufacturers to create butter-like impressions without technically lying about ingredients. Words like creamy, rich, and smooth appear prominently, while dairy content disclaimers hide in tiny print. The refrigerated section placement creates artificial associations with dairy products, even when items contain no dairy ingredients whatsoever. Former grocery merchandising managers reveal this strategic positioning is intentional to blur category boundaries and increase sales of higher-margin processed products. The texture engineering involves industrial processing that transforms liquid vegetable oils into solid spreads through hydrogenation, chemical emulsification, and synthetic stabilization. These processes create compounds that don't exist in nature while achieving butter-like properties through artificial manipulation. Now let's reveal the two butter brands that actually deliver quality ingredients and honest production methods. These companies prioritize cream quality over marketing budgets and maintain production standards that justify their pricing. Number 1 quality choice, Kerrygold. This Irish butter brand consistently delivers superior taste and quality because they control the entire production chain from grass-fed cattle to finished product. Former dairy industry workers praise Kerrygold for maintaining traditional butter-making methods while scaling production responsibly. The cream quality remains consistently excellent because Irish dairy farms follow strict standards for cattle feeding and milk handling. The grass-fed cattle produce cream with superior nutritional profiles and natural flavor complexity that artificial additives cannot replicate. Former Kerrygold facility workers report that production methods emphasize preserving natural cream characteristics rather than standardizing through chemical intervention. The seasonal variations in taste reflect actual environmental changes affecting cattle diet, not manufacturing inconsistencies. The salted varieties use minimal salt quantities that enhance rather than mask natural butter flavors. The salt sourcing involves premium sea salt that adds complexity rather than generic sodium chloride used to cover inferior cream quality. Former quality control specialists confirm that Kerrygold salt levels remain consistent because the base cream quality doesn't require variable masking. The pricing reflects actual production costs rather than marketing markup exploitation. Kerrygold charges more than industrial butter brands because grass-fed dairy operations, traditional production methods, and quality cream sourcing genuinely cost more than commodity dairy processing. You're paying for measurable quality differences, not branding fiction. Number 2, quality choice, Vermont Creamery. This small batch producer maintains artisanal butter-making standards while achieving limited commercial distribution. Former specialty food industry workers recommend Vermont Creamery for consumers seeking authentic butter crafted using traditional methods with premium local cream sources. The production facilities operate at scales that allow individual batch quality control rather than industrial averaging across massive volumes. Former Vermont Creamery workers report that each butter batch gets evaluated individually rather than blended into homogeneous products that meet minimum specifications. Quality variations between batches reflect natural seasonal changes rather than manufacturing defects. The cream sourcing involves partnerships with local Vermont dairy farms that maintain higher standards than commodity dairy operations. The shorter transportation distances and established relationships allow Vermont Creamery to select premium cream while supporting regional agriculture. Former sourcing managers explain that these relationships enable quality consistency impossible with anonymous commodity purchasing. The cultured butter varieties showcase traditional European techniques that develop complex flavors through controlled fermentation processes. Former production workers describe the careful timing and temperature control required to achieve proper culture development. These traditional methods require skilled technicians rather than automated industrial processes. The limited production runs ensure freshness while maintaining profitability at smaller scales. Vermont Creamery avoids the massive inventory cycles that force industrial producers to extend shelf life through preservatives and stabilizers. You're buying butter manufactured within weeks rather than products designed to survive months of distribution delays. The artisanal approach means Vermont Creamery can respond to seasonal cream variations by adjusting production techniques rather than relying on artificial standardization. Former butter makers explain that spring cream requires different handling than fall cream because cattle diet changes affect fat composition and natural flavoring compounds. Industrial producers eliminate these variations through chemical intervention, while Vermont Creamery embraces them as authentic characteristics. You've now discovered the truth about butter marketing deceptions and identified brands that deliver genuine quality. The pattern emerges clearly when examining production methods versus marketing claims. Most major butter brands exploit consumer trust through nostalgic branding while delivering industrial products manufactured using cost-cutting shortcuts that compromise quality and taste. The fundamental problem involves commodity dairy processing, where cream quality becomes secondary to production efficiency and profit maximization. When butter manufacturers prioritize quarterly earnings over ingredient integrity, consumers pay premium prices for standard industrial products disguised through sophisticated marketing campaigns. Smart butter shopping requires ignoring packaging imagery and focusing on ingredient lists and production transparency. Real butter contains cream and possibly salt. Nothing else belongs in authentic butter. If the ingredient list includes vegetable oils, artificial flavors, or chemical preservatives, you're not buying butter regardless of what the packaging claims or where it's positioned in the store. The refrigerated section placement tricks fool millions of shoppers who assume proximity to dairy products indicates similar ingredients and quality. Former retail managers confirm this strategic merchandising generates massive profits by selling margarine at butter prices to consumers who never read ingredient labels carefully. You've now heard from industry insiders about the 5 worst butter brands that exploit your trust, plus the 2 brands that actually deliver on their promises. The pattern is undeniable. Marketing imagery means nothing. Pastoral packaging is pure fiction. Premium pricing doesn't guarantee premium quality. You're paying for branding theater, not butter integrity. The fundamental solution requires reading ingredient labels religiously and supporting companies that maintain production transparency. Real butter needs only cream and salt. Everything else is industrial manipulation designed to maximize profits while minimizing actual dairy content. Your wallet and your taste buds deserve authentic products that deliver what they promise. Share this information with friends and family who still fall for butter marketing deceptions. They deserve to know which brands are taking advantage of their loyalty and trust. Stop accepting artificial substitutes disguised as dairy products and demand actual butter made from actual cream.